Welcome everyone to a really last minute video, which has a topic that I thought of only about 5 minutes ago. And today we'll be talking about my 5 favorite classic pomades. Now, classic pomades play an important role throughout my pomade journey. And for those of you who've been following this channel for a long time, even since the beginning, you might remember that I started this channel out by reviewing classic pomades, where I eventually evolved into reviewing more contemporary products and then homebrews. I actually initially intended this channel to be only for classic pomades before I actually really broadened my horizons, but nonetheless, you can see the classic pomades really do play an important role in my journey of using pomade over the years. Now, this list over here will be strictly for pomades. It won't contain any styling creams such as Brill Cream or Grooming Clean, nor would contain any tonics such as Vitalis and Lucky Tiger. But I just so happen to have this vintage Barber's bottle of Brill Cream. Well, the content itself, the Brill Cream here is actually not vintage Brill Cream. I just filled the bottle up. I cleaned the bottle and filled it up with contemporary European Brill Cream, but the bottle itself was from 1950s America. And I just thought that it makes a really nice showpiece, so I'm putting it right over here. Now let's get on with the list, and pomade number 5 is Royal Crown Pomade. Now this one is on the lighter side, but it's not super light. It's just the right amount of light hold that you would need in the classic pomade, because my issue is with some classic pomades that are supposed to be light is that they tend to be way too greasy and way too light. But this one just has the perfect amount of light hold. I mean, the thing is, light hold doesn't always mean no hold, but this one has the perfect light hold that you would need in even for a classic pomade. And not only is the light hold in this one pretty appropriate, but for the amount of hold it has, it provides an amazing amount of control. My pompadour always looks really nice forward and round with it, and the amount of shine as well is a nice high shine without looking too much of a very ridiculous super wet shine. Obviously it gives you that vintage rockabilly looking wet shine, but it does not give you that super wet shine that you would find for some pomades with a similar greasiness to it. But the main thing I love about this is the appropriate amount of hold it has for a vintage light pomade, and also the amount of control you get out of it. And it was also used by none other than the man in black himself, Johnny Cash. He was one of my personal heroes. Setting this aside, we'll go on to pomade number 4, and it is Sweet Georgia Brown Hairdressing Pomade. Now this one over here, it's on the lighter side of medium. The thing about classic pomades is that, to my knowledge, there isn't any true medium pomade. Either you would have lighter mediums or firms, basically somewhere between medium and heavy. But this one, you can say it's almost a true medium, but it's just barely there. At least for my hair type. It's a light medium, but it contains an amazing amount of control as well. I just love the slickness, and one of the best things about it is the shine. I mean, of course, being an older, greasier pomade, you would get sort of that wet shine, that greasy look, but the greasy look on it is not just any wet, greasy look. It kind of gives almost a 1930s Clark Gable vibe, where not only does it look wet, but it just kind of looks like a refreshed Hollywood type of shine. I just can't really describe it, but for some reason the shine in this one is just a little bit different compared to what you would find in other classic pomades. But for the amount of hold it has an amazing amount of control, and also an amazing amount of shine too, because for some pomades with a similar hold, it doesn't really provide as much shine, and the shine that is of course very unique. Really good balance of properties in this one. Now, speaking of mediums, number 3 is also pretty much on the medium range over here, and it is New Nile, which is more of a firm actually. It's between medium and heavy, but yet it does not contain any of that ridiculous tug and pull that Murray's contains. Now, this over here is currently a Murray's product, but originally it was not a Murray's product. It was first released by Peerless Products in New Jersey. I actually did a review in this one early on my channel where I also discussed about the history of New Nile. So if you want to learn more about its history and how it performs, you can go ahead and check that video out. Well, pretty much every pomade I have in this table I've reviewed already, but you can always check those out. And most of the classic pomades are actually my earlier videos now starting out in this channel, as I mentioned earlier in this video. Anyway, to me, New Nile is kind of like an improved version of Murray Superior, where the hold in this one is sort of a nice higher a nice higher hold, but not being extremely light glue. It just gives you a nice good hold, pretty much firm. That's between a medium and heavy. Yet the shine is also amazing for the amount of hold that it has. It has sort of that nice wet look as well, but it also has a bit of a wax type of shine in it. It's sort of a balanced, it's a wet shine, but it's still sort of a balanced, fresh shine to it. It doesn't really look like a lot of the typical greasy pomades you would see. And like Sweet Georgia Brown, it also has sort of a unique type of shine to it, but the shine on these two are not really the same, even though they're pretty unique for their time as well. But New Nile also provides a really excellent amount of slickness and control, and also great height with it. So every time I style with this, I always get a good height to my pompadour. It has sort of a medium weight to it, but even with its medium weight, I can manage to get a really good height. So excellent styling properties. To any pomade enthusiast, this is a must try. I recommend this to anybody, any oil-based pomade user, whether you enjoy classic pomades or not. This is at least a must try. Now, pomade number 2 on this list is Tancho. Now, you can say that this is my first pomade. The first pomade I've actually used is Gatsby Supreme Grease, which is nothing than a modern version. Well, I wouldn't even say it's a modern version. It's the exact same thing as Tancho, except that it comes in a different packaging, a red color instead of green, and a better scent, more of a soapy and almost fruity type scent. But it's basically the same thing. You can say Tancho is pretty much my first pomade. This one over here, I think it came out in 1933. I don't exactly remember, but you can check out my review in this one, which I did quite a while back. And I actually gave the exact year this was released as well. That's when my memory was fresh about every single detail about this product. And this product really is ahead of its time. Despite being released in the 1930s, it is absolutely petrol-free, and it is based on hydrogenated castor oil. It is also really, really sticky pomade. It's on the light medium side, and it is the stickiest light medium I have ever encountered. And there's this translucent jello looking green appearance to it. And I'm actually using it in my hair right now. If I can come a little closer, you can see that my sides look insanely slick over here, and you can already see the shine. Now, despite being a lighter pomade, this one works really well for Asian hair. Well, my particular hair type being not too coarse, but still coarse when it's short, but it's on the finer side of Asian hair. But this works really well for my particular hair type. And I've used over 120 different pomades in my pomade journey of about 3 years. And I can say that this is the single most shiniest pomade I've ever used. And the shine of this one is just insane. Well, it gives that really wet and greasy shine, but it just kind of goes overboard with it. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't like too much shine, you might as well stay away from this. But if you are really into that super slick, um, very greasy look, then go ahead and use this one. Well, personally, I actually do love this kind of look. It's pretty synonymous with the classic rockabilly look, of course, and it just provides a rich amount of shine, and I'm not kidding you. This is absolutely really shiny stuff. Super sticky, and that's where most of its hold actually comes from. But if you don't really style it very properly, it might go a little loose throughout the day, and your hair would just become sort of a greasy mess. I mean, when you recomb it, it won't. The thing I don't really like about Tancho is that when you actually recomb it throughout the day, when you restyle it, it probably won't retain the same stickiness you initially start with. So it would end up becoming a greasy mess. So you need to actually style a pretty you actually need to start off with a good style to begin with. Otherwise, if it just, especially in more humid climates, if your hair falls apart with Tancho, you're pretty much screwed. Unless you add more, of course. But for my hair type, the initial styling properties with this crazy amount of slickness, because of all the stickiness, and I just love the shine. And there's a reason why this is my number 2. Maybe it's just all the nostalgia, because this is one of my first pomades. Well, the actual Tancho was one of my first pomades, but the modern Gatsby version of Tancho is my first pomade. Now, before we get to pomade number 1 on this classic pomade list, let me give a few honorable mentions. Murray's Super Light is the first American pomade and first petroleum-based pomade and first, well, non-Asian classic pomade I've ever used. So it has a lot of sentimental value to me, and it just smells really good. That nice coconut vanilla scent, great shine as well, and I love it as a topper. As a standalone, personally, for my hair type, as long as it's not too humid, I get decent results. And it's basically not super light as advertised. It has a little more hold than I expected, but less hold than Royal Crown pomade, but almost around the same kind of hold. Nice shine as well, and I really love the scent. But basically, I'm just putting this in this list mainly because of sentimental value, I think. Next, we have Murray's Excelento. Well, originally not by Murray's, but currently owned by Murray's. And this is just really aesthetic in a way that it comes in this rectangular tin. Nice leather scent, and this is the most shiny petroleum-based pomade I've actually used, in my opinion. Well, Dax Shortney, the blue Dax, it starts off being a little shinier than this, but eventually the shine would just not be very consistent and would dull out through the day. But the thing about Murray's products is that the shine is always really consistent. So what you would see during initial styling, it would stay that way. So it starts off with this nice crazy shine and would remain like that throughout the rest of the day. And also, being light medium, it has an amazing amount of control for the amount of greases it has. It's super greasy, but it still won't just fall apart on you during the spring and fall. An excellent fall pomade. And now let's go to pomade number 1. My favorite classic pomade over here, which is black and white Pluco hairdressing. Now this one over here, you can tell that it has a pretty big jar, and it would cost between $7 to $10 depending on where you are. So you get a lot of product. It would last you a long time for the amount you pay. It has a nice subtle coconut vanilla scent, marshmallowy coconut vanilla scent. The shine in this one, it's not as crazy as you would find in most classic pomades, sort of like a medium shine between medium to high, with a little bit of that white waxy shine to it. But the best part of this is the build-up. The build-up is just nothing you would find in any other classic pomade, in my opinion. I mean, this being a classic pomade, obviously it does have some greasiness to it, but it has just an appropriate amount of greasy and waxy. It's on lighter medium, but as demonstrated earlier, the light medium pomades I've shown here, like Tancho, Excelento, and Sweet Georgia Brown, they're all pretty greasy pomades, but this one, for a light medium, it has a good amount of grease and wax. It's not overly greasy, and it has enough waxiness to keep that tacky slickness. So this one has an amazing amount of slickness, and also the control is actually the best part of it, the control and the build-up. So with initial styling, the initial styling is pretty good, but during build-up, that's when the magic really happens. And the control you get from the build-up is amazing. So you're really missing out if you don't style with this in build-up, which of course you should, because it's an oil-based pomade, so it doesn't really wash out easily. But still, for an oil-based pomade, this one washes out quite easily too. With just initial styling with no build-up prior to it, it'll take 2 to 3 washes, which is not bad for an oil-based, a classic oil-based pomade. But the build-up is really the best part of it, and that's what made me fall in love with this classic pomade in the first place. And of course, this pomade pretty much made its mark in rockabilly history because Elvis Presley used it for his pompadour as well. So that is it for this video today, and those are my top 5 classic pomades. I'll be doing more of these top 5 videos in the future, so if you want to see more of those kind of videos, please subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon so never miss a single upload of the Squinty Show, and do leave a like and a comment in this video. And I'll see you next time on the Squinty Show.